You're listening to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Did you know that you could build a tax-free pool of wealth that's liquid and accessible all your life while building your retirement nest egg? Gain full control of your financial future and stop relying on the government and banks. The wealthy have already discovered this wealth-building secret. Now it's your turn to get financially secure without following the conventional wisdom that keeps you in debt to banks. Now here's your host, Valerie LaRocque.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Thank you for being here. I hope that you've had a great week. Today I wanted to talk about the debtor or the saver versus the wealth creator. So this is a little talk that I have learned from my mentor, Joe Pantozzi. He shared this with us, and I think it's a really great way to explain how infinite banking is different than what other people are doing regularly. So now if you can envision or write out, maybe have a paper and pen with you, an XY axis. The x-axis is the horizontal line, as a reminder, for those of us who haven't been in math class in a while. And the y-axis is the vertical line. So in the corner at the bottom of the x-axis, xy where they cross, you can just put 0. So the x-axis is just $0. Okay, so now from a starting point at the x-axis, we would start with 0. And then for a debtor, a person who has to borrow all the time, they don't have any savings, they're just having to always charge everything, and they're not earning any interest in a savings account, they're just paying interest, sometimes borrowing at really high rates. So these people are needing to use credits. So to envision this or to draw it out, you would start at the x-axis, drop straight down, and then slowly go back up to the x-axis again, so kind of at a diagonal. So you're needing to spend money or borrow money, and then you're paying it off, so you're going back to the 0 at the x-axis, and then spending again, and then paying it off. And so you're just you're dropping down into debt, and then paying back the debt, but then having to repeat this action over and over, bringing you always back to 0. So not getting anywhere really with that. Versus the saver, a person who's a saver, who's not charging up credit or building up a bunch of debt. They are saving for everything they want, saving it all up, and then going and making the purchase in cash. So maybe they're earning interest in an account, a CD or a money market or some sort of account, maybe it's mutual funds, where they're earning interest, saving up this money, and then paying cash for the things that they want. And so these people then are starting at the same spot, the same location on the XY axis at the corner at 0. And then they're slowly saving up. So that line is going at a diagonal, up, up, up. And then we'll do a dramatic drop back down to 0 because they'll save, and then pull the money out and it goes back to 0. And so that just continues to go across the board. They're saving up, buying things in cash, goes back to 0. Now they got to save up again and then goes back to 0. So the action looks the same on this chart. They're either slowly going up and dropping back down to 0, or they're borrowing below the 0 that they already don't have any money. They're borrowing beyond that and then coming back to 0 when they pay themselves or pay the credit card back. And so these two actions are doing the same thing, but the savers are doing better because they're saving their own money and maybe they're earning some interest on the way, but they're still ending up at the same place. They're still ending up in the same place as the debtor, coming back to 0 after they spend the money and buy the thing that they want to purchase. So now the wealth creator, what does that look like? The wealth creator is the one starting at 0 and then just slowly and diagonally going up. Only going up because the wealth creator is using an asset that has uninterrupted compounding interest. And of course, I'm referring to whole life insurance because with whole life, you're able to build your account and then use other people's money, the insurance company's money, for things you need, want to purchase, or want to invest in. So you're able to fund your policy and have it always be growing because it's always going to be based off of your increasing balance that's going up because you're adding premium all the time. And then when you borrow against that, you're borrowing against that value, your value continues to earn as though you did not touch it. So this is going to be the better way to funnel your money and to flow your money, because it's always going to be going up, even as you have to use the money for things you need. Whereas the saver, which would be the second best way to go, they are having to reduce their cash position all the time and interrupt any compounding interest that they have going on, because they keep having to save up that money and then pull it back out. And so it's interrupting the compounding, which makes a dramatic difference, dramatic effect at the end of the lifetime. If you've had that opportunity to have that money be compounding for a lifetime and you have to interrupt it over and over for whatever the reason is, it's going to be a dramatic difference in the end. And in addition, being able to borrow against your policy using your own asset as the collateral, and then being able to enjoy that uninterrupted compounding interest, you are able to borrow from the lender, which is the insurance company, at preferred rates, which right now is at 4%. That's the guaranteed fixed rate, is at 4% for your lifetime. And even my preferred primary company right now is even allowing people to go back and forth from variable rates to fixed rates. You can choose. There is some more detail around how that works. But if the variable rate was to get better, or if you were to choose to want to be on the variable and then decide you want to be on the fixed rate, you could go back and forth. And that fixed rate is guaranteed for your lifetime. So I'm going to wrap up this podcast today with one of my favorite quotes from Nelson Nash, which I'm sure I've said before in an earlier podcast, or it's on my website as well. And he said that you finance everything you buy. You either pay interest to someone else, or you give up interest that you could have earned by paying in cash. There are no exceptions. So rather than letting your money just slip through your fingers, because every time you make a purchase, that money is going to someone else, you are handing it away and you're never going to earn on it again. So rather than letting that earning power just slip through your fingers, why not start a banking system instead, using a whole life policy, and start capturing the earning power of every single dollar you run through there before it's spent or used in a different way? So that's why for me, I try to trap as many of my dollars inside of my banking system as possible before I use it for other things that I need to finance or other investments. If you would like to find out how you could create your own banking system and build a whole life policy where you're going to stop losing the earning power of your dollars and stop letting that money slip through your fingers when you could be earning on it, and then still go do the thing you wanted to do with that money, purchase the investment you really wanted, the real estate you wanted, or purchase another item or finance something that you need, why not trap that money first into a whole life policy? I'd be happy to help you. You're welcome to reach out to me at Valerie@alphaomegawealth.com if you feel like I would be an advisor that would be a good fit for you to work with. I'd be happy to meet you and help you figure this out for you and your family. So I hope that you have a great week. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.